You are now listening to the Perceptive Readers Podcast. Hello, Perceptive Readers. This is James Lynch. I want to open up with this free energy keynote part 5 of 5 keynote address, so to speak, by saying this. Just because we do not understand something, it does not mean it is not true and that the person is crazy or even gullible. Okay? Now, over the past 2 weeks, because it's been since May 20th, that was the last of the part 4 of 5. So, speeches, so to speak, on this subject. And each one of them were within 5 minutes time frame. Remember, and I kept to that. I told you I was going to do that, and I kept to it. But for free energy keynote part 5 of 5, this one, I said there will be no time limit, you see. And there's a reason for that, because even when I was preparing to share the information that I have with you today, over the past 2 weeks, I've had a variety of topics, anecdotal, some of them, that, caused me to realize, boy, if I throw this in there, this is another 10 minutes. If I talk about this goes into 15 minutes. So what happened is there was a couple of times I was actually being motivated. Maybe I should make an addendum here and an addendum there or what have you. But no, I come to the conclusion that even though it's no time limit on what I'm about to talk about in this free energy, I'll just stick to a couple of main points that I still want to make in the end about this subject matter. And I'll just, address this topic again, maybe next graduation season or what have you. So I encourage you to go through 1 through 4, even though I may reference again how it started off, where the originator of energy, is in the first place. Who originated it? What is the source of all energy? All right. And how we talked about it was given to us freely and in abundance. Now, I'm going to talk about a subject in this one that can actually jump into a lot of other areas in life, and even in the areas of, people have stated at times that, oh, you know too much about this, or you know too much about that, or you need to keep your mouth shut about this or that. And what is so interesting is, some of my replies have been at times, if it was said to me, is that, oh, you mean this wasn't really just common knowledge, even in your fields or discussion or what have you? You mean this wasn't even just a normal part of the curriculum, if you will, and come to find out, in some cases, they weren't. And that's why the people expressed themselves in the way that they did, as if it was some type of brighter light. And yet, this is what I will relate to you. Some of this brighter light still came from, dark places, if you will. What I mean by that, restaurants, clubs. You see what I'm saying? even just regular everyday fast food shops or restaurants or what have you. You see what I'm talking about? Anywhere where you have run into somebody and you certainly wasn't even expecting to run into this person that you don't even know or that person you don't even know, and the type of conversations that may have been drummed up in the process, and you certainly didn't bring it up, but for some reason, that individual wanted to bring it up to you. All right. What is one of those topics? Well, it's actually the one that we've been addressing in the past 4 parts of this 5-part series on free energy. You know, even back last century, some decades ago, you see, there were people who were talking about it. You might not didn't hear about it on the news as much or what have you. But I tell you what, there were actually some people on the streets, if you will, at times. Now, maybe they were just getting a feel for this or that. But they were relating even back then that none of Tesla's work was stopped, so to speak. And you know what Tesla did. I mean, between him and then you have Einstein, you got some stuff that was going on. And so these very persons, some of them would mention about even inventions that persons were constantly making or developing. And the way that the reference more went towards it was, you would get the feel that, oh, we already have sources, and it's not like they have to be nuclear reactors either. You see what I'm saying? But all the same, that they already had certain inventions in place where the bottom line is energy does not have to cost as much as it does. That's the bottom line that I'm telling you about. It does not have to cost nowhere near of the cost that we have today. And so what I want to share with you, because you may say, then why do the prices rise and go down, but here lately just want to rise and stay up, whether it's spring or summer or winter? You see, why have the prices continued to go up? If, James, you're telling me they don't really need to be that high. Well, let me reference a science fiction movie for you, okay? Don't you just love science fiction? You know, in 1996, and this is from Wikipedia, a movie called Chain Reaction was out, and the premise was, and you had the some people may end up calling Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman another couple of national treasures, if you will, in the acting, you see, on field, and even some maybe philanthropy or something that we don't know about or what have you. All I know is, you know, you hear those names in their field and they're very respected. They actually were in this movie, and what it was about is Keanu was like this scientist, you know, more than a prodigy, if you will. All I know is the work that he was able to find out and then capitalize on as well from other person's work. He came to that conclusion that we could create a source of unlimited energy, you see, to light up not only the cities, but the world, you know, and that was his desire. And yet this thriller of a science fiction movie started exposing certain things that it made me even think back to a question even some decades ago where one person had asked one of the individuals that was talking about free energy that, okay, if you're telling me that they have inventions already that can do this or do that without even having to, actually have a big, huge nuclear power plant or what have you, where are they at? Where are these inventors? Where are these inventions and things of that nature? Because this was going far beyond just, your regular generators as well, for the way that person was talking, the same way in the movie of what Keanu was saying, because it's one thing to have energy. It's another thing to have like what they would call clean energy. You see what I'm saying? Where you wouldn't need all those tons and tons and tons of safeguards and stuff like that in place. The waters that keep everything from overheating and then flushing the radioactivity to some other containers and things of that nature. But we won't go that far on that. But what I want to still talk about is, that's the type of energy, like the sun. We just get the sun, we get the light, we get the heat. Now people got solar panels, you see what I'm saying? That even stores that energy that comes in. And from what I understand, all the extra energy that some of the people's solar panels that they've installed on their homes end up going right back into the electric company, and I don't know if they get them a kickback or what have you. But see, that's what I'm talking about. I still don't know if even solar panels are as up to the standard that they still want them to be or not. I'm still not really positive about this, but remember, we're still talking decades ago, and then we're still talking about science fiction, because here Keanu he found something that I told you that would work better than anything that was in place during this movie time and era, which still would have been real time in the 90s. And yet the situation was, from when Morgan Freeman addressed him, he started telling him why we don't have free energy. And all I can tell you to do is to listen to his reasons. Because see, at the same time, one person had referenced even decades ago that whenever if somebody comes up with an idea like this, and then they actually create it, or what have you, then normally some persons will come in and they'll just buy it off them. They'll, buy the patent and everything off them. And so in other words, they'll just give them the money that they wanted or what have you, really just to not continue the project, just to not, create anything more to it, to sign over the rights or what have you, just for whatever agency came in to take it over. See, and that was explained even way back then. So that's why this one person was saying you don't see it. And like I said, this man, wonder how old he would be today, or if he would even still be alive. But this was just something, like I said, a conversation that was way, way back then that a couple of persons had. Now, let's talk about free energy. Again, see, this is what, I keep in mind is this. One person was once told, you will never be rich because all you'll do is give it all away in the first place. And this person was told that at a young age. Then the person was told that again, a few years later, something along the same line of thoughts. And then the person was told it again. You see, even as an adult, and you know what that person said to themselves, or maybe might have muttered it under his breath or what have you. But he said, I should still have the right or the chance to at least be stingy in the first place. Still give me whatever it is I ask for. I deserve the right to have the opportunity to try to be stingy and be so frugal I wouldn't even give an old lady a dime. That's just a joke. But the reality is this. As I said before, the technology that we have in place, it's basically, it's like a, I forgot what it's called. They're like spinning tops or what have you. But there's some items you can actually turn, and once you turn them or you spin them, they never stop. You see what I'm saying? That's energy. And the thing about it is the way that the world is set up today. I talked about the grids and everything of that nature. It's like, okay, once everything is turned on, see, it's always on. It doesn't stop. There are processes and methods in place, though, that it just needs to always have something stimulating it in this way or that way or what have you, so that the connection won't run dead or dry or what have you. But I'm not getting, too much into that side of things either. What I want to really still emphasize is this. The structure is in place all the same for electricity to not be as high of a cost that it is. You see, nowhere near it. You see, and what I'm still saying, like I mentioned, where a worker is due their wage and things of that nature, where I still do believe, or I feel strongly when it comes to energy, taking all the politics out of it, taking all the psychology behind why it has to be controlled in this manner or that manner. What I would say is, you won't hear me state it should all be free then. Even if that's the way I feel, I understand. That's the reason why I mentioned the movie The Chain Reaction, of what Morgan Freeman's character was stating. I understand where they're coming from. You see, with that. And so I still think all the same that it doesn't, I'm not, promoting that it has to be free. What I'm still saying again is, does it have to be at a high inflationary rate? Does it ever have to be that high? No, it doesn't. It serves its purpose for this reason or that reason. And I've stated, often before that, there's many other still creative ways to build upon what persons can do next to not only make money. You see what I'm saying? Not only make money, but to continue to keep that drive that they have, to keep that outlook, a balance, if you will. Because see, a lot of decisions are made based on what the crowds, the people, can handle. And that's the way they really do feel. With all their data and things of that nature. And some of the people, they fall right into those reports, and surveys and everything, where it's like, well, just like 1 + 1 = 2. I guarantee you, I put you in this situation. The next thing you know, you'll be a lazy bum out on the street because, blah, blah, blah. I know I digress in that. But all the same, when it comes to energy, as I stated in the beginning, God is abundant he's abundant of energy. He never tires out. He gives us energy spiritually into the physical realm. When he gave it to man, you see, and woman on the earth to be able to, have dominion over it, and cultivate it, use everything, as tools as well, for what they needed. All of that was freely given. And all God, you see, we're certainly related was, to listen to him when he says something, and certainly don't abuse none of it. Don't abuse none of it. And all of that was done, and given without money and currency. But, we needed money and currency once everything fell into the state that we have today, But I still just really want to emphasize that a lot of decisions are made today because it's still based on the mind and the spirit of the people. And I referenced that movie, The Giver, because a lot of persons do feel that when you either give human beings too much, you see what I'm saying? Whether it be in money, good living, decision-making power, what have you, as a whole, they will make the wrong decisions every time. Yeah. A lot of people feel that. So that's why many gifts, even the ones that we have been given from God, our rights and our freedoms, that's why you still have some persons say, we got to keep this under control or in lockdown, because if it gets out there, the majority of the people of the world just wouldn't be able to handle it. And that's why they do the things that they do with resources. You've seen that in censorship, etc. But all the same, I'm coming up to 20 some minutes here, where it is 22 minutes now. And rather than go on and on about, these points of what I'm talking about, why we should have reasonable costs, of energy across the board. You see, and when I say reasonable cost, don't put people in a catch-22 situation. It's almost like, hey, the energy has been cut by 70% now, or what have you. But then the next thing you know, the taxes go up somewhere else. Because I'm just telling you, it doesn't need to be either way. It doesn't need to be that way. That's just me talking. In closing, a gift is a gift. A gift with the right motive, with no agenda attached to it, is a perfect gift. You see. It also says that God gives perfect gifts. And one of those perfect gifts was what? The sun that provides us with all this energy today, you see. And I encourage you to go back to parts 1 through 4 to see what we were talking about leading up to this. Thank you for your time. And I'm sure we will revisit this maybe again in another year or maybe before to talk about this subject if the energy prices hasn't dropped, So anyway, thank you for being here. Take good care of yourself.